Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Orlando City Council workshop for May 16th, 2022. This morning we have two workshops. The first is going to be with Visit Orlando, and we had the opportunity to join with them to announce a new branding campaign called Unbelievably Real, which is unbelievably real. And the best part of it is that they're doing it in conjunction with the Orlando Economic Partnership. So we have the business community and the tourism community co-branding, collaborating on pushing the Orlando name in our market in just about every aspect that you can think. And I think it's probably one of the best efforts that we've had, and I enjoy the fact that we are doing this collaboration. So I'm going to ask Brooke to introduce the workshop. Are you on? Nope, you're not. Can we bring the sound up for Brooke?
Oh, there's a button. Got it. Okay.
So just yesterday I was at the memorial for National Law Enforcement Week, and it was on the lawn behind the Capitol, and the president was going to speak, and they had a country music singer. Whole sound system goes out. Oh. You did not want to be the sound guy.
No, not in that.
The president waiting to speak, and you're trying to get the mics and everything working, and the country music singer didn't realize that he wasn't being broadcast at the point, so he went through the whole song and then had to sing it again, but it's all good. So
good,
we're a little bit better. We were quicker.
Well, good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. Today I have the pleasure of introducing Cassandra Mate, the President and Chief Executive Officer at Visit Orlando, and I know a lot of you have had a chance to meet her and interact with her in person already. Prior to accepting her role at Visit Orlando about a year ago, Cassandra served as the president and CEO of Visit San Antonio, where she helped achieve record highs in convention sales and marketing programs and spearheaded one of the largest tourism ambassador programs in the country. Currently, Cassandra, in her role with Visit Orlando, also serves on numerous local boards, including that of the Orlando Economic Partnership, the Downtown Orlando Partnership, Florida Citrus Sports, the Central Florida Hotel and Lodging Association, U.S. Travel Association, and Air Team Orlando. Since joining Visit Orlando in 2021, Cassandra's main focus has been on spurring economic recovery for the region's tourism industry, which provides jobs and opportunities for our residents while creating unforgettable and unique experiences for our visitors. And I can't say enough about the level of partnership and collaboration that Cassandra has brought to our community in working specifically with our downtown partners, as well as our Main Street districts. It's just a whole new level of collaboration and partnership. And she has the highest energy level of anybody I think I've ever been around. So get ready. With that, I would like to invite Cassandra to the podium.
And as Cassandra comes up, I'll mention Commissioner Sheehan is attending virtually.
Oh, wonderful.
Well, good morning, Mayor, Commissioners. It is my honor to be in front of you this morning. I think it's been a little while since Visit Orlando has updated you all on kind of our initiatives, and so it really is my honor to be in front of you today. And really, we want to look at a couple of things today. As far as our agenda, I want to talk a little bit and brief you and update you on the state of the industry, as well as some of Visit Orlando's key initiatives and upcoming activities. And then we will end on the new brand campaign that hopefully you've been able to see some with a lot of the news coverage that we've received recently. When you look at, oftentimes there are people that ask me, so, how did the pandemic impact your industry? Where are you today? And I will tell you, we do have a story to tell right here in Orlando. When you look at 2020, it was certainly what we call the year of the haves. So these are some of the metrics and some of the ways that we measure success. And so you can see in total visitor volume, we fell 51%, as well as Orlando International Airport passenger was 50% 54% fall. And then you can see that, really when you look at our employment and our tax collections, we call this the year of the halves. But turning your attention to 2021, we really started to see a turnaround in 2021. And when we showed encouraging progress in those same metrics, you can see at the airport we are at 90%. And these numbers and these percentages are as compared to 2019. And then you can also see as far as tax collection back to 80%. And even though workforce does still impact, and that is probably one of our biggest concerns right now, is getting our workforce back to work in our particular sector. Ending 2021, you can see that we ended at 89% as compared to 2019. So I think all of these numbers just clearly show that we're in the midst of that recovery. And then last week we announced our numbers. So when you look back at 2019, we had our most record-breaking year of 76 million visitors in 2019. So obviously our goal is to get to or even surpass 2019 numbers. But as of last year, I think we can be very proud that we welcomed over 59 million visitors to our community. And when you look at some of our big leisure comp set, such as New York and Vegas, you can see that we exceeded their numbers in a large way. So I do believe, and I've said this often around the community, that because of our local leadership and you keeping Orlando open in a safe manner, we were able, I think we're probably about a year ahead of our comp set. And I did want to draw your attention very quickly, though, to the international numbers, because you can see Mexico in 2021 was number one, followed by Colombia. But when you look at this, I will say, there were varying factors. For example, in the UK, which is typically one of our top international markets, the rules of engagement and the borders weren't quite open all through 2021. So, these numbers, while we utilize this because Mexico is fairly a new market, and we're being much more visible. And Mexico, knowing that there is a strong interest to come visit Orlando, but just wanted to paint that picture that there were some differences and reasons why maybe there were some top performers compared to what we've seen in past years. We work with a lot of research companies and in the industry, and they really stepped up throughout the pandemic and did a weekly survey of U.S. travelers. And again, I think that we can be optimistic about our future when you look at some of the results that 9 in 10 American travelers have a trip planned in the next 6 months, and that our readiness to travel is at an all-time high. And you would think, and yes, we're watching inflation and travel prices such as gas. However, right now the demand and the wanting to travel, that pent-up demand, is greater than those price points. So again, we're set up for great success. And then finally, when we're looking at forecasting the rest of 2022, we do look at a lot of different factors. Inflations obviously remain high, both in the U.S. and globally. And so will likely lead, obviously to an economic slowdown in the U.S. Later this year. Labor force participations, looking at those reasons that whether they're COVID related, childcare related, as well as one of the things that we saw this past year is there was a lot of people that had saved during the pandemic, and so they were utilizing those funds to be able to take that trip with their family. Well, some of those savings are starting to go away. So, we're really watching our research very carefully. And then something that's different this year as compared to 2021 is we were open for business. And a lot of our comp set, when you especially think about the West Coast, they were not. And so starting this year, we're seeing that there is fierce competition for that tourism dollar, because we were out in the marketplace nationally all through 2021, and now our competition is out there not only domestically but globally. So just to keep in mind that competition is definitely fierce. And then so far this year, we are seeing a lot of productivity at Visit Orlando. And so I wanted to share some of our initiatives with you and some of those results. At the foundation of every decision that we look at is our 3-year strategic plan. And many of you, if not all of you, were part of that process. We not only talked to local community leaders, the government, as well as some of our customer base and our traditional stakeholders. All in all, we had 448 survey responses. We conducted 32 one-on-one interviews with industry and community leaders that really led to our strategies and goals for the next 3 years. And we're going to be bullish. I mean, we want to exceed pre-pandemic numbers. So you can see on the screen that we want to be at 80 million visitors by the end of 2024. It's very aggressive and aspirational, but we really think with our initiatives, and especially with our new co-brand with OEP, that we will be able to achieve that. And then the 4 strategic areas of our strategic plan, we are a sales and marketing organization foundationally, so that is obviously our number 1 focus, followed by destination alignment. And I think that's where you'll see, partnerships, whether it's with you all right here with the city, OEP, as well as Visit Florida, and then destination management. And we were excited to see that the transportation tax will be on the ballot and that the county commissioners passed that recently. That there is a need because, as we all know, our overall transportation infrastructure, there is a gap, whether it's for our visitors or residents alike. And then, of course, being a fiscally responsible organization, so looking at our organizational sustainability for years to come, whether there's new opportunities, whether there's expansion of our membership, which I'll talk a little bit later in the program. One of the things that I often talk to our community about is what does it take to really be a strong tourism and meeting and convention destination. And really there's 3 areas to make us completely whole. And those 3 areas are domestic leisure. And if you looked at towards the end of 20, as well as throughout 2021, our primary success came from the domestic leisure marketing. Followed by, of course, in November, there was a different change of rules of engagement for our international traveler. And so the borders opened up. And so we started seeing and welcoming back our international visitors. And then finally, that 3rd piece of the travel pie is business travel, whether that's meetings and conventions or people traveling for other business purposes. But you really have to have all 3, and they need to be fully recovered for us to be at that peak of travel. So what did we do? When you looked at towards the end of 20 and throughout 21, we had a campaign known as The Wonder Remains, inviting people from all over the U.S. primarily to come back to Orlando and really serving up all those reasons why they probably missed Orlando if they've been here before, as well as new reasons to enjoy. And so we really looked at our target markets and then this year in 2022, we launched those in our traditional international markets. And you can see on the screen again, the UK being one, Canada, and Brazil and Colombia. One point that we're watching pretty intently is what's happening in those various communities. So for example, in Brazil, they're having some real economic hardship, and so as well as it's taking a very lengthy time in order to get their travel visas. So we're working through U.S. Travel Association to see how we can help them expedite some of that process, and so that's something that our industry leaders are working towards. And all in all, one of the things we're able to measure is return on ad spend. And this campaign has had a 40-to-1 return on ad spend. I think we can all agree that would be a great investment. So for every dollar we spend on this marketing campaign, 40 returns to our local community. And then a big part is really getting back out and traveling ourselves, promoting the destination, whether that's domestically or globally. And we've had our communications team, we've had our travel industry sales team, as well as our convention and meeting sales team back on the road since before the beginning of 2022. And so as you can see here, we've been in Brazil, we've been to Mexico, and really where we've leveraged to be able to extend our use of our dollars is we're partnering with Visit Florida, and we will do co-ops and we will do trade missions alongside of them. Again, so it extends our resources. So in the area of business travel, I will say one of the things I'm very proud of is we led the way back to in-person, face-to-face meetings, and a lot of people around the country, including our comp set, certainly took notice. And this year, our salespeople, so from January to now, they have already booked 258 events for 2022 and beyond, which generates a $1.2 billion economic impact for our community. This is both for large conventions that we call citywide that would utilize the Orange County Convention Center and multiple hotels, as well as those in-house meetings, whether it's at the Grand Bow or other areas across the community. So we're actively working with our meeting professionals. We also make it a point to have strong relationships with a wide variety of industry and community partners. These are just a few that locally as well as nationally. So Brand USA, just if you're not familiar, is the national destination organization similar to Visit Orlando. And so they really focus on international travel and telling that message regarding the U.S. And so oftentimes, again, we will partner with them to extend our investment internationally with Brand USA. But you can see we obviously have partnered with other entities locally. We just wrapped up, and every first week of May is National Travel and Tourism Week, where across the country, industry really promotes the benefits and the impact of our industry to our local communities. And we had a very fun-filled week. You probably and hopefully saw a lot of our out-of-home signage inviting our locals to experience their own destination through a staycation. And I'd like to share this video that just wraps up what we did for the week. So that was National Travel and Tourism Week, and again, it was a great opportunity for us to also thank our frontline workers, such as the taxi drivers, Lyft and Uber, and you see that we were out at the airport. And then we ended the week with a appreciation of the Visit Orlando team right there in Boxey Park, which was really a fun backdrop to close out the week. Also looking at other ways that we activate the community, and I know you all were great partners this year of 407 Day. And I think this is really great because very similar to Magical Dining, it draws attention to our local businesses. And this year it expanded from just restaurants to other local businesses. And we're looking at really, are there other ways that we can expand this program next year? So I do think that this is a great partnership, and there's a great opportunity to drive B2B to our local community. And then, you know, I look back almost a year ago, we conducted and did, and thank you very much for your team, a downtown tour. And a lot of our team members from our PR, our sales and services were here, and it was my first time to really experience all that downtown has to offer. And we were posed a question from your team of the what ifs, right? What if we could do this? And, you know, what if we had more members from downtown that were part of Visit Orlando? You know, what if we dreamed big? What could we accomplish together? And so we listened, and I wanted to share some things that we've done to overhaul, and really it was led by this day. And the picture there I wanted to share with you, one of our initiatives is we have a network of local influencers that do different blogs, etc. And so this is a Orlando native, Katrina Dandridge, who works, and she has a site at Isn't Life Dandy, and she did a story on downtown Orlando. But to be more inclusive of downtown districts and Main Street programs, we created a new membership category, and we are seeing great results of that. This gives the Main Streets access to our convention calendar, as well as the ability to receive leads and be included in all of our referrals. Our goal is to send more visitors downtown by beefing up our consumer and delegate sites, as well as information we present in our Orlando Travel Academy training series. And so Orlando Main Streets is a member, and 5 of the 12 have already become a member, and I think we hit a sweet spot because it's very affordable. And right now we have Gateway, Orlando, Ivanhoe Village, Milk District, Mills 50, and Soto as members, and we're talking with the others to join. And I think it's just a great way that the smaller businesses in that community can be members of Visit Orlando in a very meaningful way. So we're excited to have that. 2 of the biggest ways that we promote downtown, of course, is PR, and we're working with media outlets and social influencers to get that third-party coverage, as well as content creation, which includes videos, blogs, web pages, calendar listings of your events, and social media posts. And over this past year, we utilized both of these areas to promote special downtown events to include Immerse, Fusion Fest, Come Out with Pride, and Fringe Festival, to name a few. And those efforts extend to robust representation of arts, cultural, and sporting events at Camping World Stadium, Amway Center, and Exploria Stadium. Of course, the Electric Daisy Carnival, what a great event, and one that we're able to promote. College bowl games and the Florida Classic. Obviously, our beautiful Dr. Phillips for Performing Arts, which I understand you're hearing from next, with partnership of opening of Steinmetz Hall, as well as the Front Yard Festival. And then cultural and educational venues such as Lake Eola Farmers Market and our Regional History Center and the Orlando Science Center are all part of our big promotions. We also work closely with the Orlando International Airport on a lot of different initiatives. We provide monthly updates on new flight schedules, blogs on our consumer and meeting channels that detail new airport developments and expansion, representation at the Roots America Annual Conference, and working with the airport and airlines on different co-ops. This last year, Frontier, when they named an animal, they had a plain tail right here from Orlando, and Spirit with our Most Magical Gathering. Not know if you're familiar, we worked with partners Spirit and Disney to give away the Most Magical Gathering, where we brought a family of 50 together that hadn't seen each other in 2 years, and Spirit flew them here, and we made their itinerary, and Disney helped host that event. It was quite magical. One of another area that we promote is beautiful Lake Nona. We take journalists and influencers there all the time, as well as convention groups. And so we promote this also heavily in our social media channels. In addition, we launched a dedicated landing page within the past year that spotlights areas such as Lake Nona Sculpture Garden, the Boxy Park, Lake Nona Dining Scene, the Nona Adventure Park, and USTA landing page is all part of our website. Now looking ahead, we've got the next 3 months are going to be very busy, and we hope that you're able to join us for some of these initiatives. First up, June 4th through the 8th, we are hosting IPW, which is the Super Bowl of travel trade customers that will be coming from around the world. Right now, we're ahead of pace. We have 4,200 buyers coming in, and we will be welcoming over 400 media to the area from all over the world. Past IPWs have generated upward of $5.5 billion in future travel in the U.S. And for a host city, they're up to $400 million in future economic impact that will come to our destination. So we're very proud hosts. For our PR activities, Visit Orlando will host a press brunch at the Hall on the Yard at Ivanhoe Village. We're excited to use this unique venue where we'll host over 400 media for brunch, and then they will go off that day for media tours throughout the entire community. So we'll have press tours as well as buyer tours. And then June 7th, I wanted to bring your attention, and you should have already received an invite not only to our ribbon cutting at the trade show, but also an opportunity to join us for Destination Downtown Orlando. We already have over 1,500 RSVPs from the attendees that will be coming here that night to enjoy the festivities of our arts, food. It's going to be a night to remember. So we're going to have high energy dancers, stilt walkers, immersive photo installations, and then of course our wonderful food options. Then on June 9th, we can also expect an announcement about Orlando's restaurants that will be included in Florida's first ever Michelin Guide, which will be, we're very excited to partner with Visit Florida. We probably all can attest to how wonderful the culinary arts here in our own backyard, but we need to let the rest of the world know. And being a Michelin Guide city is one step in that direction. And so on June 9th, they will be announcing what restaurants have been selected in our area. So I think this will be a great opportunity, a great day for us. Finally, everyone's favorite event and program is back, August 26th through October 2nd. And again, I think that there's this is a program that has the secret sauce, right? It is a need period for our restaurants. It drives people to our restaurants. It also gives you a wonderful meal at an affordable price. And then the last part of this is that for every check, $1 goes to a charity. We are in the midst of selecting our charity this year. We've invited those associations, nonprofits, and organizations that focus on workforce development and training to apply for this year. So that will be our focus. If you have a favorite restaurant, please nudge them to participate in our magical dining program. We had 90 restaurants last year, and we hope to exceed that for this year. And then great destinations have great moments. And this past week, we celebrated one of them. As the mayor mentioned, we launched first of its kind joint branding campaign with the Orlando Economic Partnership. And why are we doing this? Not only is competition fierce for the tourism dollar, but obviously on relocating businesses to our area. And when you think about who has been successful, you know, oftentimes Austin and Nashville come to mind, or even Paris and Amsterdam globally. And so it was time for us to come together. And as you already know, that campaign we call Unbelievably Real. And you need to think about this, because I think it was just genius putting these two words together that often do not get paired. Because when you think about experiences or even the jobs that you can have in Orlando, it's unbelievably real. And so we hope that this brand campaign will last a long time. You may see different marketing campaigns that support it, but if done right, this campaign should be part of our community for many years to come. So I want to show you one example of how we're merging the message of travel and business together.
This was the place built by Dream.
It's going to be left from there. Hold on. Applause, applause, applause. Yay, that's so wonderful, right? And we will be speaking with one voice, one brand, and to our target audiences, right? And that will include C-suite, site selectors, looking to target those talent, meeting professionals and meeting attendees, leisure visitors, as well as travel professionals. And we're rolling this out in a phased approach. And on your screen, you see some examples of what the look and feel of the actual ads will look like. But first up, we have already launched and started tempting our leisure visitors around the key markets in the U.S. And that we actually launched TV, digital media, and some outdoor placements in Boston, Chicago, and New York. And so Visit Orlando, we have a key target audience as well, right? So we'll still focus on our key target audience, and OEP will focus on their target audience. And then there's going to be many opportunities, such as in the fall, we're going to be doing a joint mission to New York, and we will be telling that message together. This is just one example of one of our commercials focused on the leisure traveler. So since I am one of the newer residents, a little over a year, people ask me whether it was from Texas or here, you know, what's different? What is that uniqueness about Orlando? And when you think about it, the only thing that holds us back is our imagination. If you can imagine it, it can come true in Orlando, whether that's for an amazing experience or whether that's in business. Truthfully, I mean, what we've seen and what's been done in this community, the only thing that holds anybody back is their imagination. And I think that's a really unique story that we get to tell each and every day. We also have a significant multicultural component to the campaign, including representation on the Urban One Network. The host, Erica Dunlop, is an Orlando native and a former Miss America. This is going to be airing June 13th. There's a 5-minute digital episode, and will be in markets such as Miami, Houston, Dallas, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Detroit. Similar efforts were also occurred in digital platforms that help us reach the LGBTQ+ and AAPI communities. In LGBTQ+, Edge Media Network, our timing is April through June in 10 markets: Miami, Houston, Dallas, Detroit, Boston, Philly, Chicago. And then you also see us in HuffPost, Asian Voices, and the timing is for May in markets such as Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, Chicago, Philly, Detroit, and Boston. And to extend our reach in the LGBTQ community, we also are co-branding a float that will be featured in Chicago's Pride Parade on June 25th, and we're partnering with iHeartMedia on that. The campaign will also include several TV broadcast integrations, and we want to share with you a segment from NBC that spotlights downtown Orlando in a big way. And here's a similar spot that will run on Univision. El secreto. Another aspect of our launch, and we think this is really cool and we're getting great responses already, is a new mural that has been created by a local artist, Clark Orr, and it really embodies that unbelievably real. And so it is actually being painted and finalized this week, and it'll run through, we're looking to extend it, but right now running through August in Brooklyn in New York, which is a top market not only for Visit Orlando, but also OEP. And then there's been a lot of people that have reached out to us that were talking about having this same mural painted locally and probably most likely right downtown. So we're looking for space right now, and people have really shown interest, but you can see that it really embodies that unbelievably real campaign. And then in October, because as I mentioned, we have those different market segments. In October, we'll be rolling out the brand to meeting professionals at one of our big shows, which is IMEX, and we'll be messaging to meeting professionals, CEOs, and business professionals that are very much linked, and we hope to have a bigger impact, and you can see what some of that messaging looks like. And then we wanted to make sure that this is not just a one-time moment, but it's the beginning of a movement, and that we unite residents with those that move here, live here, meet here, and visit here, and to bring to life their shared perceptions. And so you can see our Culture Project, which stands for Orlando Unbelievably Real Culture Project, and we've launched this year Unbelievably Real Sweepstakes. And we want, with your constituents, if you have a newsletter that you send out, please invite them to upload at orlandounbelievablyreal.com a picture of what makes their Orlando unbelievably real. And someone will be chosen to win the sweepstakes for a very wonderful, unbelievably real staycation. With that, Mayor, Commissioners, I'm done, but happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Cassandra. That was a great presentation. I just want to emphasize two things. I so appreciate the collaborative nature. I don't think we've ever had in the history of Visit Orlando the type of collaboration with our business community, and the focus on our downtown and our Main Street districts is deeply appreciated as well. So well done. I'm really excited about the Unbelievably Real initiative, and I think it's going to be highly successful. I do have one question. You mentioned that the employment stats are back to 89% of what they were in 2019, but I assume that the hospitality industry is like every other industry that is really hurting for staff members right now. Can you address that?
No, you're exactly right. And a lot of it is the front line, or even the cooks, you know, the wonderful chefs back of the house that really are very impacted. One of the things that we're working with our convention clients on is a program called Stay Calm But Play On, and there's just special, you know, there's best practices on how to have a wonderful time in Orlando, one of which is make your plans ahead of time, make your reservations at restaurants, because the time that you can just walk up to one of our fabulous restaurants and walk in have really gone, and a lot of that is due to labor issues. So we're working with the Central Florida Hotel and Lodging Association, as well as U.S. Travel Association and UCF, to figure out a way, because the role that Visit Orlando can play is that brand marketing of the different types of unbelievably real jobs that you can have in our industry, as well as those pathways. I mean, I stand before you, I was in an entry-level position, and, you know, many years later, I'm now the CEO of the #1 visited destination in the world. I will tell you, there's stories out there that people, you know, start as a server and then go on to own their own restaurants. So it is a real issue. Right now, we're really looking at the stats to find out what areas, because there's more jobs that we need to fill than there are people right now. And so that obviously is a real issue and a conflict.
Thanks. Okay, Commissioner Hill, then Commissioner Burns.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Cassandra, for such a unbelievably real initiative that you put forth and presentation. Mayor Dyer said it, eloquently, I believe, about the collaborative efforts that we've never seen when it comes to the integration of Visit Orlando with our downtown and our main street, something that I know Mayor Dyer has been really leading for, I know, since I've been here 8 years, and possibly even before that. And this wasn't part of my question, but I was able to tag along with you doing Immerse. And being a nurse, I'm a people watcher and I assess, and I couldn't believe how humble you were. No, it was unbelievable how humble you were. And now I know, because you come from the trenches in this industry and work your way up. So what an inspiration you are to me, and I'm certain to many of the people that you work with throughout this nation. So with all these opportunities, I'm so thankful to see this activation of, downtown DTO and the hotels and venues and the arts and dinings that will benefit because of this partnership. And you stated it, one of my favorite initiatives, and I had no idea until today that Visit Orlando was behind it all. Maybe I did, but I wasn't thinking about it because I was too busy eating at all the fine dining restaurants to see the brand. But that is one of my favorite initiatives, and to know that $1 from each meal is going towards this charitable work that you do with workforce. It gives me an excuse to indulge a bit more. I do want to know about what is the membership cost for the main streets? There's some new main streets and marketplaces that has been activated in my district, and I was somewhat a little surprised not to see the city district a part of it, which is our downtown district, and wanted to see what we could do.
Sure. We intentionally made it very affordable, so it's only $100 for them to be members. And just so you know, we are talking to every Main Street district, and we hope to have 100% participation. I know that they just have to do their due diligence, go in front of their board, but we have intentionally made it very affordable for them.
Absolutely. And how does, through Mayor Dyer's leadership and staff and this council, we were able to implement a job training program called RISE. Is governmental workforce agencies able to, if they're through targeted, workforce training in the hospitality industry and tourism industry, able to submit a opportunity for that grant, and how does that work?
I know, are they able to be an applicant? Oh, yeah, okay. But in the future?
In the future.
So in the future, yes, we did close out applications on last Friday because we're gearing up to kick this off, and we've got to go through a process of selection. But yes, that would be open up for government agencies as well.
Okay, thank you. And I did happen to meet one of your executive staffers, which I'm in conversation with. We'll be meeting soon, Ms. Cheryl Teller, your Vice President of membership. But she's very involved in multicultural festivals and lending her support, and Visit Orlando support. So I really thank you all for the outreach that you're doing when it comes to minority communities and making sure that you're helping with branding and marketing. So I am in conversation. I just want to thank you for your inclusion and equity in this space. And I'll close with this. Mayor Dyer, sound like Visit Orlando, City of Orlando. In your words, it's a vibe.
Yes.
And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burns.
Thank you, Mayor. Cassandra, thank you for that great presentation, and also thank you for the enthusiasm and energy that you bring to this position as well as to our community. And Orlando has a lot to offer, and so I do appreciate, as Commissioner Hill mentioned, the inclusiveness of everything. And Commissioner Hill kind of touched on, we have several festivals that happen here in Orlando. I hear about more wanting to come. Is there opportunity for these promoters of these festivals to leverage the marketing and, you know, the total machine of Visit Orlando? And if so, how is there a membership, or how does that exactly work?
So, yes, we have a broad calendar of events when we want it to be as robust as possible, because we are a trusted resource for visitors when they're coming, and, you know, they want to know what events, what concerts. And I think that's part of something that we can own as well, is that we are an event industry as well, right? And so we do want to promote. So yes, oftentimes promoters do contact us, and we'll have a joint meeting, our marketing team, their marketing, to see how we can thread that information in the initiatives that we do. And so whether it is actual marketing placement through digital, you know, pretty much a wide variety. So they just need to reach out. You can always give them my name, and I'll make sure that we get them connected to the right people. But yes, we do that a lot of times.
Now, is there usually a cost associated with that, or?
No, I normally it's if it's an event that will drive out of town visitors or within the state, you know, as well as locals, we'll help promote that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Cassandra, I note you have some of your staff, and also, Mark, this is your first time here. You want to come up and introduce yourself? I know you're at the county quite a bit, but not here as much.
Sure. Thank you for allowing me to sit in. I'm Mark Tester. I'm the Executive Director of the Orange County Convention Center. And great to be here. I've been in town for 2 years, and my first time in this chamber. But Convention Center is certainly coming back. And one of the things that our industry knows more now than ever is the importance of support from elected officials. And we were able to open and get back going. And so this entire community certainly embraces what we do. And it's so important for us to help drive economic impact. We've got a full calendar of events. We have MegaCon in this weekend. So put on your costume and come down early, because there's going to be a lot of traffic around the convention center, but we're very excited, and thank you.
We're in costume today. We're superheroes of the Orlando City Council.
Mayor,
And then your staff, Cassandra.
Yes, if you guys will stand, I would appreciate it, starting with our CMO, Danielle. You know, I get a lot of accolades, but I will tell you, really pushing this campaign forward. She has been at the helm, and so we're very excited, and she's been a dedicated team member at Visit Orlando for many years, and leads her team, which falls under the PR as well as marketing, so thank you for what you do. And then two of her team members that are here is Kristin Westover. She's probably a familiar face because she is really our external affairs person that is out there, and she's created a program that is called Chamber Champions. And so we've identified throughout our entire staff who will be champions for various chambers, and really just getting that visibility back out in Visit Orlando. And she also leads the charity selection for Magical Dining. And then we have Rob Humphreys, who is in our corporate communications, and he helps get the message out to our partners, to our community. So really he provides in his team a very important service to our organization. I think our newest member of our team on our executive management team is Stan Rubens, who is our senior counsel. And so you'll be seeing him throughout the community representing Visit Orlando as well.
Thank you for joining us. Commissioner Hill, do you have one more thing?
Yes, Mark, if I may ask a question really quick. I can't miss this opportunity. You might not get back here for a while. Just kidding. How does one, is it through the county process or the convention process if one wants to become a vendor at many of these conventions or there at the convention center?
So if you were wanting to participate in the event, they would go directly to the event organizer. If they were looking to provide food and beverage, it would go to our food and beverage operator, who is actually Centerplate. And they have a variety of different subcontractors that help us all throughout the facility. So if there's that, or if it's someone that wanted to provide another service complementary to that would fit, like we have a shoe shine provider and we have other providers, and that would go through, you can have them call me.
And staffing, for instance, I know throughout the region, staffing is down. For instance, if you had a small staffing agency also, and you needed actual employee, well, temps, let's say, would they go through your organization also?
So if we were gonna, we do have a temp contracts, and we would go through our normal procurement contracts to get those.
Okay.
And then the events themselves utilize temp agencies a lot.
Okay.
And so if they would want to promote, they would promote themselves directly to the shows through Visit Orlando being a member.
Great, thank you for that.
Yeah, so currently we have a couple of companies that are members, and so they receive leads, because oftentimes, you know, a major organization is not going to bring their entire staff, and so they, you know, it may be for registration personnel, you know, in the meeting rooms, and so we do have that partnership, and that's a benefit of being a member, because we will refer business to business.
Wonderful, great information. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Cassandra, and your
Thank
entire
you.
team. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Okay, our second presentation, second workshop is going to be an update on the Dr. Phillips Center. And Kathy Ramsberger joined the city team back in 2003 and was assigned temporarily as to assist Jim Pugh and I in trying to bring a performing arts center about. And 19 years later, Steinmetz Hall has finally opened. So this is an exciting year for everybody. Kathy?
It's been a great journey with most of you, of course. I will tell you, one of our very first trips, the mayor and Jim and I went to NJPAC, and when we went to go visit other communities, we wanted to understand why they took so long and why they were so hard, because we believed that we could get this done faster. And ultimately, we had a great plan. We just got caught in a couple unfortunate circumstances in 2009. But, and dividing a building isn't easy. But at the end of the day, we stuck to our guns, and the mayor asked Jim to deliver one of the best performing arts centers in the world, and he's done that with your partnership and the counties. I'm happy to be here today with two of our board members, Mr. Ed Timberlake and Ms. Sybil Pritchard. They have been with and on this journey for a very, very, very long time. We also have our executive leadership team here. Can you guys just stand up really quick? There you go. I wanted to recognize them right out of the gate because of what we're talking about today. We had over 240 full and part-time people working with us in 2019. We had over 250 partner organizations supporting that venue, and we had 400 volunteers. When 2020 happened, we went down to 40 employees, and these were the people that actually kept the project going. And with due diligence, I would say, and a lot of great ideas and new initiatives. We're going to start, if that's okay with you, with just a quick video. Okay.
Rachel to the rescue.
Just to drive for video? Just yeah, you can okay. Okay, great. Here we go. All right. I think one of the most important things that that story tells us is that this project was built by tens of thousands of people. And the greatest success, I think, of staying the course was alignment between all the partners. And it's the partners through the change of leadership, both at the city and the county, but also every day we have new people joining our philanthropic team. We have close to over 15,000 donors that have to believe in where we're going with the project. And so today we're going to show you just a little bit about mostly what happened between 21 and 22, but also a little bit about where we're going in the future. So our vision and mission we set out early. Our vision is Arts for Every Life. I'm not sure if you know the story. It was Arts for Life, and actually a volunteer that was working with us. We did a lot of listening in the early days, and we told them what we wanted to achieve with being a inclusive venue. Start from the beginning, from the very beginning. Our very first meetings were in Paramore, and then they were with the Sunshine Ladies, which is a group out in Rio Pinar. And we talked to people under streetlights at neighborhood association meetings through all 4 counties, but mostly in Orange County. We engaged and we listened, and that was the most important thing, was listening. And when we talked about what art centers what they had become in America, they became these beautiful monuments that actually turned out to be kind of elite and exclusive, and they just didn't feel as if you were welcome to go but maybe once or twice in your life. So that was that was kind of our compass to how to build this performing arts center, to break down all those barriers. Through that conversation, a volunteer said, maybe it ought to be Arts for Every Life, and I love the fact that a volunteer made it perfect. Our mission is an inspirational place where people love to be. That's important. The word arts is not in our mission statement. It has to be a great place for our team to work, our donors to come, our elected officials to be there, our guests to be there, our teachers, our students, and our parents. And so how do you make a great place? This year alone, coming year, we'll have 250 events that don't even have anything to do with the arts. It's placemaking, and that's what the intent was for the Arts Center. Today we got 3 major topics. One is our key accomplishments just in the past couple years, our community impact, and then looking ahead. So our key accomplishments, now this is within 2020 and 2021. Okay, so pandemic just happened. We did 406 performances, 79 inside and 327 outside. I just got back from New York from a conference of major performing arts centers throughout the country, and some of them are just starting to open. Okay, so the fact that we had the chance to do 460 events during that time was remarkable, and again, it goes to a lot what Cassandra said, our elected leadership looking to figure out how we could open in a safe way in our region was remarkable. We had close to about 100,000 tickets sold, about 90,000 guests actually attended. We brought those volunteers back, 240 volunteers. That's important. It's a life for a lot of our volunteers. Some of our seniors, some of them, this is what their life is about. And we actually had 4,900 volunteer hours over that course of time. We also had the chance to do 221 free events, all made possible because of philanthropy and sponsorship, of course, and what the city and the county did for us in terms of the CRA and Orange County funding to get some of these initiatives started. We actually did $407,000 in community support. Now, since we've opened, we've given back to the community, and these are real dollars, close to $14 million, $13.65 million. That goes to scholarships, ticket programs, underwriting events, seeking sponsorships, trying to find grant initiatives. Every year we raise money for our Arts for Every Life campaign, and that's the funding that actually goes to underwrite those. We had 30,000 people just in those 2 years, or just that year pretty much, engaged in educational initiatives. So we have a strong educational initiative that we're pursuing always. We also established versional programming. We actually filmed, it was a new experience for our team, is we do things in a live environment, and then we learned very quickly how to do something in a televised environment, broadcast environment. We actually won a Telly Award for our Applause Awards, which was pretty remarkable. And we were awarded grants. Of course, you're very familiar with that. We can pop into that a little bit more later. The front yard was a lot of fun, a lot of work. I think the most amazing thing is it was a testament to what has been built and how our city has changed. We're very much a yes and community. How can we partner? We had this idea, it was a little bit too soon in the pandemic, got a little bit hot. Starting in July, we kicked it back up, and I would say in 4 weeks, well, first of all, in 10 weeks, we raised the funding. And in 4 weeks, Spencer Tong and his team built a venue that lasted for about a year. It could never have happened without the leadership and the belief with the city, that's for sure. So it was nationally recognized in a couple ways. We actually won a Stevie Awards, which is an entrepreneurial business award on that. $6 million was raised in sponsorship. It was also raised regarding just the project in phase 1 and phase 2 for the front yard. You can see where the support came. The 26 sponsors, that was the most amazing thing, because we're not a city any longer that says, how was it done someplace else? That, to me, that was such a great, goes back to a lot of you've seen with our business community, how can we start new ideas and believe in ourselves? And this was definitely the yes and. The last number is really important. 21% of our attendees were new people that had never been to the Arts Center. Another thing that we do at the center, we survey all the time. We don't survey once or twice a year. We survey all the time. So we've got great, fresh data, and we certainly have learned from when we need to do things better. Here are the sponsors. If you see any of them, say thank you. It was a great concept. And the biggest part of this is people loved it. When we were taking it down, Spencer's team heard people drive by say, don't take it down. When's it coming back? And so the next phase is to reimagine how something can work out there for everyone. Okay? The Front Yard Festival, these are just the results, and we've shared this with your team. 430 shows and events, almost 100,000, well, 90,000 guests plus. We did 39 movies, again, reimagining how to do that. The Walt Disney World Company helped us out there. We sold almost 24,000 boxes. And people, what we noticed is people like being in their own little community, sharing a live entertainment experience. 35 shows and events were for the community. About 390 boxes and almost 2,000 tickets were donated to the community. We did partnerships. We asked all of the partners, every one of those sponsors, which organizations do you support? And we did outreach initiatives. So when we had every show, we said, how would you like to be involved? Back to work, people back to work. That was one of our goals. We have 6,300 artists and crew members were employed. I'm not sure if you are aware, but we actually got a grant from OUC. We went to the music union. All those musicians lost their jobs. And that's what the Front Yard Festival during lunch, our lunch program, Live and Local. Musicians were paid their full rate, and they had the chance to come out and perform. About 200, and we brought back to about 250 colleagues and partners. Just for the front yard, 83,000 tickets were sold, 16 concerts sold out. We did almost 290 free events, and there's the Live and Local with our local musicians. This is, again, 29 local groups were engaged, and of those local groups, 950 artists actually went back to work. Steinmetz Hall grand opening. Okay, so as we're building, so this in 2020 and 2021, one main reason why we were so grateful that we could keep going is when we were continuing the construction of Steinmetz Hall. I will share with you when 2020 happened in March is when all of our finishes were being shipped. All of our woodwork in Steinmetz Hall was in Canada. Factories and borders shut down. Our lighting was from Italy. So you can imagine what was happening in these countries. Italy, China, all of our tiles came from China, and our theater seats were in Colombia. So it was a dynamic issue, also with coordinating the project during the pandemic. They could come to work, but coordinating it was a whole different dynamic. So it was wonderful that we had the chance to get it open, which we did. And our goal for opening was making sure that this had a global position. So we had multiple issues in mind. One, it's opening for the community, but also opening on the global scale. We needed to make sure that our first reviews were positive, especially with the N1 rating, which is perfect sound, which you're familiar with that. Could we achieve that perfect sound rating? And I want to report today that we did that over the opening, so it is officially an N1 rated hall. Our gala, many of you had the chance to be there. The grand opening celebration, we did 16 total events, and remember this was right when the uptick happened. We did this 100% at risk. Okay, so it's about a $5 million opening. That's what we had planned. We eliminated one show, so it was a little bit over a $4 million opening. And I'm here to report that our goal was not to lose money, and we actually made just a little bit. That was good. We sold 8,451 tickets over the 16 events. Community participation was key for us. We engaged 250 local artists in Rise and Shine. We did 200 artists for the MLK showcase. That's the parade was canceled, if you remembered. We had 5 corporate sponsors, and we had 9 grand celebration major contributors from our community. Media impressions were important. We had 10.5 million impressions, 234 total mentions and features, and they're still happening, by the way, and almost 3 million reach across TV and radio. And we had 13 exclusive articles. We also have some events that are still going to be airing in the fall. This just gives you an idea of the 36 local arts organizations that were engaged and performed during the opening. So we had this really nice mix of local participation, but also this international participation, 450 artists. Just to give you an idea for the project funding, now this is a little bit from the beginning, and then it's also where we are today. Just to remind you, the capital for the project was $613 million. Dr. Phillips Center's contribution, this is just for capital, is about $150. 226 is for Orange County. The City of Orlando is $215, with the CRA. We have a small gift, which is in the pink. This is a little misaligned, but the pink is the $20 million from the state of Florida. And then the City of Winter Park, they actually contributed $1 million to the project. The Dr. Phillips Center's actually raised $205 million. So, and that's because we funded a lot of the pre-opening expenses. If you remember, we were open we went into business in 2013, Mayor, in 2003. We didn't open to 2014. We didn't earn a penny from 2003 to 2014. We only were funded through philanthropy. So earned income was not relevant until we started selling tickets, which actually happened a little bit before. So all that philanthropy that came in, it was important. This is just a breakdown of the 205. We have $1 million of restricted funds. That's just in another category. Almost $38 million has been raised for our Arts for Every Life programming and grants. $2.4 million are gifts that are in kind. $3.1 million is in our endowment right now. $11 million is through sponsorship and other related income. We also have $5 million that's committed in planned giving. Earned contributed versus contributed income. The national average is right around 70-30. In other words, on most of these art centers are extremely dependent on public funds. The Miami Performing Arts Center receives between $11 and $12 million a year to subsidize their business. Kennedy Centers is in the $75 million maybe. Ellen Music Center is probably $28 million. San Francisco, the same. We built our business model where we didn't receive annual public funds to operate the building with the exception of special grants. So we're not a line item. So we were at a clip in 2018, 2019, and we earned 88% in 12. We always want to raise money. The money that we raise doesn't go to subsidize the operations of the business. It goes to our mission, Arts for Every Life, our education programs, outreach for kids and seniors. 2019, partial COVID year, okay, we went out of business pretty much, 75-25. Look what happened in 2021. We would never have been able to survive if it weren't for the federal grants and your support, of course. And we're a very young business. So other art centers, they have larger endowments and they could lean on that a little bit. We were in that position. So the federal grants actually saved us. 2021, 22, now you can see we're just coming back to an uptick, back to 70. Our average is around 80, and we hope this next year will be much higher than that. This just shows you how our business has grown. When we did our first performance, we were meant to be a very, they wanted, the community said be open cautiously. We opened at about a $22 million a year business, and that was, we had a strong Broadway year that year. 2016, we had fewer Broadway weeks, down by 7%. But you can see how we grew our business because we believe the building always needs to be active. It needs to be alive every day. I think another point I wanted to share, of our programming that we do, 70% of our programming is at risk. We don't wait for someone to rent the hall. We actually actively go out and buy and purchase and partner and take risks on shows where the success is whether we sell it or not. Okay, so we're very much an at-risk business, and that's how we can get this percentage of earned income ratio to contributed income. 2020, major drop, and you can see what happened in 21. Okay, that's just in terms of our earned income. Now you can see our expenses are aligned with that. So we've been very, very successful that every single year we've been able to get through a year with a small margin of profit. Our net results for 2021, $6 million net income in unrestricted and programmed operations, including $11 million from COVID-related SVOG and other federal grants. 1.6 million was an addition plus, which was raised for capital projects and equipment grants. I want to also share, on an annual basis, the city contributes funds to take care of the building, about $500,000 plus, just for general maintenance, and then every year the city puts $1 million into a fund. We also contribute to the capital asset over. To date, we've put over $5 million in to take care of the asset and do improvements at the center. 15 months of pandemic through June 2021. So we lost $43 million in estimated gross presenting revenue, 13.7 estimated lost in earned revenue, 50% reduction in monthly operating expenses during the pandemic, 15 million COVID federal grants, including the SVOG, PPP, and CARES, and 3.2 million in City of Orlando release of escrow for the COVID assistance program and the front yard sponsorship. Thank you very much. Community impact is important to us. I think the one thing that we hear that we could do a better job, and I think, is telling our story. You know, we've been kind of in a reactive mode there, and I think now it's time for us to be even in a more proactive, to really share the story of where we want to go with our community impact. This is our give back. Close to 14 million, 13.65 million has gone back to our vision and mission. Again, 2.5 million, so the building's active. I think we wanted an active building downtown, we're delivering that. We've done 206 youth productions, and almost 390 people have been engaged in education programs since the beginning. Community impact, again, this is a typo, I'm so sorry. It's 2021 to 2022. We brought 675 kids to Frozen, and that's all through funds raised. And for Hamilton, when Hamilton was here, we were the only venue in the nation that toured Hamilton. We raised $250,000 and brought 850 kids, changed their lives for sure. And we can continue to do that. Looking ahead, right now we're actually doing our strategic plan. We started in 2020, and what is our strategic plan? In 2013, we did, well, in 2003 to 2005, we wrote a strategic plan. If you look at the strategic plan that we wrote back then, it was, what's the purpose of the center? What should it cost? And who should it pay for? Who should pay for it? We delivered on that promise. And then 2013, this was our strategic plan. Open the building, stay in business. Finish the building, stay in business. And do the best you can to engage the community. Okay, remember, because we rarely do you open a business where you're trying to build a business. This next strategic plan, there's 3 main topics that we're looking at. 1, how do we finish the site? And what should that be? We've done some good work in our strategic plan earlier, but also a master plan of what should the site be, because the commercial development is not going to be in the front piece of property. So what should that look like? We did 2 years of work in partnership with city leadership to understand what that looks like, which we're going to revisit that. The other one is content. As we're taking risk on content, where should we take the risk on content? And what should the centers of excellence be on the soul of the center, right? Which is very important. And the last one is, how should we engage more with the community? Okay, we always know that we can do better. You never have enough marketing dollars, and you never can engage in the community as enough as we want to. So we have to pursue that. Right now we've surveyed over 900 people. That would be over 800 guests, our board members, our stakeholders, and our colleagues, and continue to do more. Our program, this just shows we're alive. That's the point of this. We have 28 shows here, and many of these shows have multiple performances. So just May through June 22nd, just this May and June, we've got 28 shows, but multiple performances. And are looking ahead, what are we programming for next year? We're part of our center taking risks. We need to bring the world's best orchestras and best artists here. At risk, we're bringing the Chicago Symphony, we're bringing Philadelphia Orchestra, and Cleveland. Okay, and that's all going to be wrapped in multiple. We're also bringing the Ukrainian. I think Ukrainian Symphony is going to be here too as well. And this August, we're actually bringing the Ukrainian Ballet here. Sybil Pritchard is helping with that significantly. So we have series, and so most of these are at risk with the exception of our local arts organizations. So orchestra series, a jazz series, a dance series. We're partnering with Nat Geo. Nat Geo, Walt Disney World Company has purchased Time Warner, and they now own Nat Geo. So we're doing a speaker series with our Disney partners. We do the Freedom series every year, which is wonderful. We want to reimagine the front yard. We have the Orlando Phil, the Orlando Ballet. Orlando Opera, I want to mention they have had a successful season. We love having them there. The largest attendance that they've ever had happened during the pandemic in this past year. Also, the Orlando Ballet was one of the only ballet companies in the nation that actually had a season in 2021, 21, and 22. And then we have our biggest Broadway season yet. We have a couple, one show that's actually was postponed, which is going to overlap with the season. So we'll have a very strong year this year. Judson's is the final interior, or potentially one of the final interior venues that we're building. This is it's modeled after a wonderful room at Jazz at Lincoln Center called Dizzy's. 150 seats, cabaret. The shows are 50 minutes. This came through a wonderful gift by Joyce and Judson Green, 3,000 square feet. And it has the potential for multiple shows per evening once we kind of grow into that business. It will kick off construction probably in a couple months. And we're still working through the coordination. Hopefully be done by next March. Okay. We have one more video to share with you. I think I might. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Questions or comments? Stunned silence. Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Stewart.
What a way to drop the mic, like you always do over at Dr. Phyllis Diamax. It just made me, as I was sitting here looking at all that, I said, no matter what we're going through or whatever, once you enter there and the way you come out, you're on cloud 12. And it's just a phenomenal job. Thank you, Kathy, for your leadership. Thank your board and your staff. A huge thank you to Rachel and LaVon for the work that they've been able to do with me. And, you know, and the way that you led and made this city feel good during some dark times during COVID. And also you, Mayor Dyer, and this council for all the support that we've been able to give to such a very, I think, world-renowned organization and also art center. When you're in and when you walk out, even though I love Orlando, you feel like you're somewhere else, right? You feel like you're in New York, Chicago, and it's giving this little girl from Paramore a little bit more culture.
That's good.
You know, Kathy, as I say that, I say that with the laugh, but I always tell people, well, you know, I love the arts, but I'm not that creative. But your first presentation and slideshow showed me that I am. I think I saw about 50 different hairstyles since I've been in office. So I do have some creativity in other ways.
All good, though. They're all good.
Yeah, it's all good. You know, it's when you start talking about community and how you have made that space a space for all, and your team has made that space all, no matter who we are, LGBTQ, multicultural. It doesn't matter what your economics, influence or power is. We all get together there and we all become one, no matter what. And that's a special thing to be able to do, is to put a space like that together and folks leave out feeling unified. And I think that's what the art does, and that's what you and your staff and your team and your board, I think this city has been able to make that space as a unified space for all of us to make Orlando great, and those that visit. And I'll say, even during COVID, prior to COVID, but even during COVID, when many of our centers was only taking a limited amount of kids, yourself and your team was able to work with me during COVID to bring almost 300 youth from the city recreation programs in that space at a very minimal cost. Children, as we know, in many of our community centers, couldn't afford summer camp in that space. That's for those that have resources that really, and those kids were able to once again unify with other kids throughout the city whose parents might have influence and wealth and opportunities to create that access, and them being on that stage together, meeting new friends and giving them that platform. I just want to really thank yourself, Kathy, LaVon, and Rachel for that opportunity and working that out, and Lisa Early and Rodney Williams for helping with those resources and some of the fundings that Mayor Dyer has put in place there in Paramore. We were able to close that gap. And now, as we move forward, thank you, LaVon, again, Kathy. I know we'll be meeting, talking about the African-American version of Little Orphan Annie, called It's a Hard Knock Life, in honor of my one of my greatest rappers, Jay-Z, that wrote that song. I'm looking forward to that play being there to give those same youth from the city, because we haven't quite been able to put our showcase back on this year, Mayor, and that's gonna kind of bridge that gap for some of our city inner center community centers for those youth that was in that 3-year program that you all have somewhat helped train to be a part of that play with another entity. So I just say thank you for your leadership and continue the great works.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Kathy, for everything you've done. The only thing I can tell you, I appreciate so much working with you and your staff. They've been wonderful. I know that COVID was very challenging, especially challenging on you personally, because of the number of people that we had to let go and change and go through that process. But I appreciate your leadership and how we got to where we are. One of the things I think is important is that when we started this process years ago, we all thought that the only thing that brought the community together really was a sporting event. And we've now seen that over the course of creation of DPAC and creation of the Steinmetz and later on Judson, that we bring together the community with other activities. And it's not by accident, I think, that the front yard of the building becomes really our city's front yard. We saw that happen in Pulse. We saw that happen in COVID. And I'm so thrilled that we had the foresight to keep that open. So we have a place in downtown Orlando. That goes to credit to you, and credit to your leadership, and credit to your team's leadership. See how much I've just appreciated. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I have to say, Lincoln Center came down to see our front yard, and it was their executive leadership. And they came down to see our security system, because we changed our security system right before COVID happened. But also they have a big space, and they were trying to get their head about how to do it. They loved it, and I was there last week, and they keep saying, we want to come back. A couple of them want to move here. So they love that front yard. They did love it. So it's good stuff. Thank you. It would never have happened if the city didn't jump in first. You were the first people you and Advent Health was the first to do it. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ortiz, are you going to correct Kathy, or are you too much of a gentleman? Or I'll do it for you.
No, you go ahead.
You want me to do it?
I'm going to get a little poetic since we're talking about the performing arts.
Okay.
We just had a lunar eclipse last night, and DPAC, or the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, before we had it, we were in an eclipse. We just came out, and it has been bright and shining like nowhere else in the whole world. I compare our Dr. Phillips with any other place in the world. And what you guys have brought to our Central Florida region, to the state, to the nation, is amazing. When I sat at the Steinmetz to listen to Jennifer Hudson, I really, really enjoyed for the first time in my life the real sound of music. And I wrote something that says, when one enters the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts for the performing arts, you escape the reality of your everyday duties to relax in the peace and enjoyment of the artistic world. That's exactly how I felt that day. And you guys and the mayor, you started this project too, and Kathy and your team, and now you have Rachel, and you have all these great guys working with you, and you guys have endured the test of perseverance. You guys have been at it, good times and bad times. And Commissioner, when you said that you catapult yourself to New York and Chicago, no. We stay where our dreams come true, right here in Orlando. This is the place. Those people should be saying that they catapult themselves to Orlando, because this is the place now. You guys made it happen, and I'm so proud. When I talked about our Performing Arts Center, it's just, my eyes filled with that shine, because there's nowhere in the world like this, like this place. It's just gorgeous outside, it's gorgeous inside. The sound is exquisite. I mean, what else can you look for? So thank you so much for bringing so much joy to our community, and I can only dream about what is to come, in terms of the performances and music And hopefully one day you'll let me sing there too.
Just
So that's
anytime.
what, no, the
You
mayor was
just have to
waiting
let
for
us know,
that.
do you want people in the audience, or do you want people in the audience?
I may need a private audience, but I'm so proud. I'm ecstatic, and I thank you so much, and your team. You guys are amazing. So, thank you, Mayor and Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, I thought you were going to mention that the Sunshine Ladies are at Ventura.
Oh, you know, could be. Oh, that's right, okay, yeah. Thank you for correcting me. I haven't seen them in a while.
Last thing, Kathy. So we have a new theater at Grand Avenue Community Center, so you better watch out. There's a
Hey.
fantastic acoustically
Can we help them?
great
We'd
theater
love to support them.
in the old school building there that I think is going to be very beneficial to the community.
great.
But fantastic presentation. Thank you, staff, for everything you guys do.
Again,
And
I-
Sybil, thank you.
I wanted to mention leadership has been part of this project, and I can't thank you enough for everything. And our board of directors, Jim couldn't be here today. I would say Ed Timberlake and Sybil Pritchard are probably some of our longest volunteers with the most hours, but entrepreneurial, innovative. They value this partnership with the city, and we could never be where we were way back when and where we are today without you. So thank you, Mayor.
Let's close out with a round of applause. Okay, that concludes our workshops.